Monday, September 16th, 6:30. It's Lisbon Board of Education regular meeting for September. All members are present except for Brandy Larkin. Can we have a student ambassador? You want to lead us in a pledge? Thank you. Brandy's here.
I'll read this.
All right, so Liz here. Okay, go ahead, Lauren. This is for the public.
For discussion at the March 2nd, 2023 Special Board of Ed meeting number 4, public comment will be limited to items on this meeting's agenda. Speakers must state the item about which they will speak. The Lisbon Board of Education welcomes comments and suggestions from citizens of the Lisbon community. Citizens who wish to speak with the Board of Education about a particular subject or concern will be recognized during the public comment portion of the meeting. Each citizen wishing to speak at that time shall be restricted to 3 minutes. As provided in Robert's Rules of Order, speakers must be courteous, avoid personal attacks, and refrain from the use of vulgarity. Public comment is an opportunity for the citizens to bring concerns to the attention of the board, but not an appropriate time to engage the board in conversation. The board may choose to direct the superintendent to follow up on a matter as warranted.
Thank you. All right, so that being said, we have public comment. If anybody has anything to say, they can sign in and use the podium.
Right, because it's not.
Is this correspondence?
Yeah. You should, or just say, please read it. Or, yeah, really, that's what we do.
I'm going to change that.
Good evening.
I'm here to address the dress code policy.
Excellent. I'm here to address the dress code policy that has recently been instituted at the Lisbon Central School. I was informed that this is a new policy that has been come down from the board over a recent amendment to the existing policy. I'm here to ask the board that the policy be be deemed more specific, because there have been a matter of different cases in which punishments have been dealt out due to mid-thigh length instances. And the problem with that is that there is subject to great amounts of interpretation in terms of what that means. In doing a little bit of research, we noticed that the previous statement of what the dress code was read, must not be shorter than mid-thigh length and cannot hang below the waist. The new policy states all bottoms must be no shorter than mid-thigh, hang no lower than the waist, or reveal the upper thigh or undergarments. This seems like not that much of a drastic change. However, the amount of punishments being dealt out has rapidly increased. We believe that this policy is good-natured. However, the way that it's currently being enforced and the ambiguity around it needs some specificity around it, so that parents can better arm our children with more appropriate dress wear. As in addition, we can make sure that our girls specifically don't feel like they are being targeted for inappropriate dress when that is just simply not the case. Thank you.
If you could you state your name and address, please?
Oh, my name's Kayla Santiago, 70 Lisbon Heights Road. I actually want to touch on the dress code as well, and the fact that it is seen to be targeted just for girls, because girls are being pulled out of class for the length of their shorts, but there are boys that wear pretty short shorts as well. And if it is going to be a dress that girls can't wear a certain length, which obviously there is an appropriate length regardless, but if they can't, then I think it should be aimed at the teachers as well, because there are teachers that show cleavage, which I honestly don't have an issue with. But if it is based on the fact that the boys can't concentrate in class, which has been said by uh, officials at the school, then I think that that's something that should be brought up with the boys and not the girls. Um, I think that the pulling them out during school, during a class, and measuring their outfits are is just as invasive of their class time. It is actually more distracting to their class time than actually wearing the outfit. I have seen multiple teachers wear shorts that are shorter than what the kids are allowed to wear. While it's still an appropriate attire for a person to wear, if it's going to be targeted at just girls, I don't think it should be targeted at all, because all of the children should be grouped together. So if no one can wear short shorts, that's one thing. But if girls are only getting pulled aside to measure how long their clothes are, then that alone is a problem. And I don't think that that should be happening.
Thank you. Is that it? All right, good. All right, so normally we restrict public comment to anything that's on the agenda, but we were aware that this was going to be a topic of discussion tonight, and we're going to add it to the agenda at the end of the meeting, so I allowed it. Um, so thank you for your input, and we'll talk about it later. All right, so correspondence to the Board of Education. We have a letter here from the Lisbon Volunteer Fire Department dated September 4th, 2024. It says, "Dear abutting property owner, this letter serves to notify you of the pending application below in accordance with the provisions of Section 16.2.2 of the Town of Lisbon zoning regulations. The section requires property owners abutting the subject property, including those across the street from the property, to be notified by the applicant no later than 30 days and no less than 10 days prior to a public hearing. Therefore, notice is hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold the following public hearing on Tuesday, September 24th, 2024 in the Lisbon Town Hall at 1 Newent Road, Lisbon, Connecticut at 6:30 p.m. Application number 24-03 is seeking a variance of Section 15 to allow for electronic signage in the R60 zone, 45 Newent Road, Lisbon Fire Department, Fire Station Building Committee. Applicant Assessor's Office map ID 10/107/0000, volume page 156/948. Purpose of the public hearing is to allow all interested persons to speak and to receive written communication regarding the application. A copy of the application is on file at the town in the office of the town clerk at 1 Newent Road, Lisbon, Connecticut, for review during normal business hours. Sincerely, Mark Robinson, Chairman." All right. That's the only correspondence we have. Report from Lisbon Central School Ambassadors. I think we have one here and one here. Oh, we'll let him go first.
Hello, my name is Trey Nokoski, and I am happy to be the student ambassador for the 8th grade class. In ELA, we are now reading the book The Outsiders. In math, we are learning how to use and solve positive and negative exponents. In social studies, we are studying the Native Americans and their dwellings. In Spanish, we are learning about adjectives and going over things we might have forgotten from last school year. In science, we are learning about car collisions and their effects. Also, the cross-country season just started up 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Ms. Spain's gonna read her daughter's.
Sorry, she is at cheer practice. So. Hello, I am Natalie Vane, the student ambassador for the 7th grade. In math, we have been doing negative and positive integers. In ELA, we've been working on a new book called The Westing Game. In science, we have an outing on Tuesday to Bluff Point. In social studies, we have been discussing North America. In Spanish, we have been learning the alphabet. We have a quiz tomorrow. We have early release tomorrow and have picture day on Friday. Lisbon soccer lost our opening game today, and we also have a home game Thursday against Preston at 4 o'clock in the Meadows.
Very
That it?
nice.
All right, thank you. All right, approval of minutes for last month. Everybody have a chance to read them, find any issues with them? No? All right, I need a motion to approve the regular Board of Education minutes from Monday, August 19th, 2024. That's written. Brandy makes a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. What's that? Okay, Administrator, Superintendent's report, Mr. Sheldon.
Good evening, everybody. So I wanted to report on our opening. It was an absolutely fantastic and smooth opening this year. Couldn't say enough about the teachers. The students were so excited to come back. It was really nice to see the students come back, to be honest with you. It's nice to be back in the swing of things. Love the structure. Open house, it was phenomenal. We had the farmers market over there, so we had little music ahead of time and some food trucks. But we had such a great turnout, and it was such a great community event. We had Boy Scouts here, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts. We had the Uncas Health District here promoting bicycle safety. The LCS PTO was here, and we also had representatives from our area high schools joining us. So it really was a great community event this year. The hallways were just full, and the temperature rose 20 degrees just once you walked into the building because it was just so many people. It was fantastic. Sports did start, and as Natalie mentioned, we had our first soccer game today. It was a tough defeat, but we have our cross country also starting. We have our coaches, Stephanie Crowell, Marty Malenik, Jen Nowakowski, soccer coaches, Bill Beckwith, Jill McAvoy, and our athletic director this year is Stephanie Crowell. And that's all I have to report.
All right, very good. Glad to hear everything opened up well. All right, our Special Education Director, Ms. Sullivan.
Hi, everybody. So this month we're reporting 87 students identified as special education. We are still working on, I actually met with the state today, this afternoon, to work on some of those issues that I had talked about at a previous meeting with CT SEDS, because we were having problems exiting students from the system, so the numbers weren't matching up. But we're working on that, so that's why the numbers are coming down a little bit. We were able to get some of our IEP students that had been exited from special ed. So we got a couple of those down, and now we're working on the 504 kiddos. So that's why the numbers are coming down a little bit. I was able to work on those this summer. The other thing that I wanted to point out is past the special ed numbers, Kathy was kind enough to put a couple of pages about CT dots, because I went to the special ed directors welcome back conference 2 Fridays ago, and they talked about as far as early childhood goes, they're going to start phasing out the Brigance as the evaluation tool for early childhood child find. So we're moving towards what they call CT DOTS, which is an evaluation that has been around for a little while and is supported by the early childhood development standards in the state of Connecticut. And that is going to be phased in as the standard for child find for preschool children. So instead of doing the Brigance, we are going to start doing CT dots. I don't think that is going to be in effect in this coming school year, but they're going to be piloting it in certain schools in the state. But we will probably start using it if we can get our hands on it. We do have an EastCon rep that we work with. She has a couple sets of them that she's going to lend to us. So we're going to start working on the standards here with our early childhood development. And we do have a new preschool teacher, and she's really awesome. Her name is Mrs. Prosser.
All right, thank you. Any questions, Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Could you explain some of the differences between the one we use now and the CT dots?
So the Brigance is very much based on developmental milestones, and the CT dots does have that aspect to it, but it's much more based on the standards that the state has put out. So like SBAC is based on the Connecticut core state standards. CT dots is based on the early childhood state standards. So it's kind of married together a lot more than the Brigance was with the state standards. I mean, it does still follow those things and still measure those things, but I feel like it's a lot less ambiguous. So I'm kind of happy about it.
Great.
I have a question too.
Sure.
Is this part of the assessment for enrollment into preschool, or is this just like while the kids are here?
While the kids are here. So we're required every year to do these assessments as part of Child Find to determine whether or not students have any deficiencies that we need to look for in the coming years, in their formative years. So usually the Brigance was the tool that we used as an evaluative tool, but now it's going to be CT dots.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Okay, so our new business manager, Mr. Paradise.
Hi, how's everyone doing? So this month I have a few things to report. One of them was that we received an email to participate in a para-educator health subsidy survey. So the hopes is that as the state gathers this information from all school districts, that those districts that have para-educators or educational assistants, that there might be some money flowing into the Board of Education's local municipalities to help offset those costs. So we completed that survey in hopes to hear some information, hopefully get some more funds into our town. We also received our member. We have a little better here. Our member equity distribution from KERMA, our insurance carrier. Every year when they balance their books and determine
You can use Kristen.
any assets they have, they give it back to the members, which is great. So we received $1,700, just over $1,700 from them, which is just an added benefit of being one of their members. And then one last thing I did want to bring up to the board, as the business office looks to streamline our tasks and make things more efficient. One of those tasks that Sally and I discussed is electronic signatures on our checks. We currently use them for payroll. And sometimes when we do payroll runs and check runs, as Brandy would know, that there's a ton of checks that need to be signed. But it's just an inefficient way of doing business, as you could all assume. We have to not only coordinate with Brandy and her schedule, the town schedule, as we're trying to process payments in a timely manner. In talking with Chris Maynor in the town, it would require the Board of Finance's approval. So I was just hoping that if the board would like to or is in support of this, potentially next month we could put an action on the agenda to put through to your vote, because I think it would help in the Board of Finance if the Board of Education has already shown their support through a vote. So again, just as the business office is trying to just streamline our processes and make things more efficient, this is just one of those tasks. So thank you.
Wants to say something. Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, very good. Any questions, Mr. Paradise? Good. All right, thank you. All right, and building and grounds, Mr. Blue?
Hello, I just want to let you know we had a couple inspections this past few weeks. First one was by AL Fire Protection. They did our first quarterly inspection of the year. The inspector met me here at 5:30 in the morning so we wouldn't interrupt the teachers' in-service day. So I thank them for coming in early. Everything came back good, no issues. The second one was by the Hartford Steam Boiler Company. They give our certificates for operating our boilers. It's something we have to do every 2 years. I haven't received the report yet, but as soon as I get it, I'll update you. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. McGlue? All right, good. Last but not least, Ms. Keating.
Oh, thank you. As you can see in your packet, we did receive the template from Homeland Security regarding our safety plan. Brian McGlue and I have already started working on it in connection and concert with the state trooper, Rob Adams. Tara Golis, our secretary, is in the process of retyping everything. One change, I think the most major change, Brian, you can weigh in if you feel differently, was they wanted more special education representation throughout the whole plan, not just their section. We already had that, so we were ahead of the game. So we're feeling very good about that. So what does that mean for us? We have to update room numbers, changes in teachers. We have to do an annual survey. We'll do that with Rob Adams. He already told me he'd connect with us, and then it's ready to roll. So we'll have it out to the teachers rather soon. I do want to put a plug in for our staff. I can honestly tell you our staff has always been excellent at following the plan, and I wanted that on record. And we expect no less this year. They're great. They do it to the letter of the law. So I wanted that on record. I want to talk to you about a pathway from Oh, was that me? Oh, that was me. Sorry. I apologize. Do this? Okay. I want to talk to you about a pathway that's going to go from LCS to the new firehouse. Chris Labonte and Mark Robinson, I know you know these guys, these gentlemen, they met with Christopher, myself, and Brian to discuss that the town is going to make a pathway for us with wood chips. I thought this was so nice, using wood chips from LCS to the new firehouse. And why is that important? Well, as you know, our classes, our kids visit the firehouse on a regular basis every year. And it's kind of a safety factor when you go on that road, to be quite frank. So they came up with this idea, the town supporting it, no charge to us, and I just thought it was a wonderful gesture. So I wanted that on record. Oh, yes, done. By November. It's got to stay away, and they know this. We discussed it from the swamplands, the water. Yep. The grassy lot. Yep.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Approval of monthly expenditures. Anybody have a chance to look at that? No. All right, so we need a motion to approve the monthly expenditures for June 2024, fiscal year 23-24, in the amount of $998,818.56. Second. Lauren, second. Any discussion? All's in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we need a motion to approve the monthly expenditures for August 2024, fiscal year 24-25, in the amount of $627,521.11. Get a motion? Randy? Lauren? Any discussion? All's in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. So, now the financial statements. We need a motion to approve the financial statement for June 2024, fiscal year 23-24, as presented by the administration. Same. Any discussion? All's in favor? Opposed? All right. And lastly, we need a motion to approve the financial statement for August 2024, fiscal year 24-25, as presented by the administration.
Okay.
4 seconds.
Yep.
Any discussion? All's in favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Or old business? New business. New business and old. All right, we have a discussion about the CT General Statute 18-69E, the CT Menstrual Equity Law. Who wants to lead that?
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, no, it's fine though. A Board of Ed member did want it on the agenda, so I put it there. The public already probably knows this, but I'm just going to repeat it if you don't mind. A letter did go out to the parents, and it has to do with this statute. It's law, where the Board of Ed provides free menstrual products and restrooms for students in grades 3 through 12, women's, all gender, and at least one men's bathroom. It took place, this law took place September 1st, 2024. We are implementing it. We only got, let me think, we received one inquiry when the letter went out. Very nice, very, very nice. Just wondering which bathroom for the boys' bathroom. And I don't think it's any secret, we put it in the nurse's office. So that's where that is taking place. And that's the only inquiry that I received. Did you receive any more? Okay. And did you receive any as board chair? Okay. I just wanted to report that.
Okay.
I just had a couple of questions to follow up on that. So I read the law, and it recommended that there be a school coordinator. Have we instituted anybody in that position?
We're just sharing it.
You're sharing it?
Yep.
Okay. Did you decide, because it didn't specify the type of dispenser, whether you're doing wall mounted or a basket, depending on where you place it?
And I'm going to let Brian McGlue respond to that because we discussed this.
Wall mounted?
We thought it was the best way to go.
Yeah, so reading it in the product selection calls for tampons and pads, but you could add on and do reusable pads, cups, and then something called period underwear. Have we elected to institutionalize any of those products?
Not yet. No, we are not doing the underwear yet. In terms of tampons, the pads, yes, we have.
Okay. Are the tampons going in the elementary grade level bathrooms? Okay. All right. That was important to me because I wanted to make sure if we were going to do that, that we would give parents notice to have those.
We did in the upper grades.
And then it also called for community engagement to try to get children of elementary age to make posters and to include educational segments. Like, is this going to interfere with the educational health curriculum that we have? Or we're keeping it exactly the same?
Right now, Alyssa Faber, is our health ed teacher, and there doesn't seem, unless Christopher found out something differently, there's no conflict.
Perfect. I just wanted that.
No problem. Nope, that's good that you're asking questions.
Oh, there is one other thing. It does call for a one-page flyer that should be visible in every bathroom. Were you aware of that?
Yes, Megan Jenkins brought that up to Christopher Sheldon.
Yeah, and then it shows that if this bathroom is out, please contact someone. So I just printed that so everybody could see.
Yes, the only thing I don't know, so let's put it on the table for the public. Have we done that yet, Brian? Put the sign up, the paper? Okay, but we have discussed it. Megan Jenkins brought it to our attention, so we'll get it done.
Thank you.
I have a question. Knowing that there's already some issues with some bathroom things that have maintenance, do we have a plan of making sure we're not clogging?
I don't know. Oh, I mean, I do know for you. I didn't know for him. Okay. Yes, the first day it was reported that there were a couple things that happened. After that, it settled right down. We're not having any problems with that issue. Okay.
So I just want to point out, the thing I took away from.
Okay. Well, not really. No, the public probably can't.
The one thing I read in that law that I did not like was that it was yet another mandate with zero funding. So that's going to cost this district money. I mean, it may seem insignificant, but it is going to cost us money. And the state did this without providing any funding. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And if we instituted it the way the state wanted us to institute it, it would cost us a lot of money, because they wanted every, possible avenue covered, and us to keep stock on all those things. I forget the number they used, 45,000
Yeah,
products
40,000.
on hand. I'm like, are you kidding? It was insane. So it is law. We had to do it. I think the way that they did it was reasonable, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Was there any more comment on that?
Yeah, I just have one question.
Yeah.
So with the stuff in the nurse's office, how does that impact someone who might need to access that? Are they asking to go to the nurse's office? Do they say they need to use the bathroom? just make sure you're covering your bases, right? Like somebody's not being denied going to the nurse's office if that's where they need to access that stuff.
Yes, there is no denial whatsoever of any kiddo who wants to go there, and we made that very clear. I think we made it very clear. Would you agree? Okay, so we're feeling pretty good about that.
All right. Is there any more discussion? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. So diversity plan, possible action.
Well, Megan Jenkins was going to join us tonight. Oh, Trey, did you need something? Oh, no, okay. And she couldn't, so I'm going to take the bulk of this, and Christopher can jump in if he feels the need. Our plan was conditionally accepted by the State Department of Education, which we felt good about, because I guess a couple districts didn't. Some districts did get through, though. You have to know that also. We had to do a few revisions, and I'm going to summarize them for you. They may not jump right out at you because we did fairly well. The suggestions are from the West Ed organization that was contracted by the Connecticut State Department of Education. We added language such as strengthening partnerships. Again, they liked that we were starting them, but they wanted us. And so, I've kind of taken that one on with a local college and I shouldn't say a local college. Let me just say that. I don't want to advertise. And I'll be on that advisory board at that college. So I think we're going to do well with that piece. We also have expanded our geographical area for advertising for specific positions, for example, the Hartford Current. We have an administrator who is a member now of the NAACP. So there'll be some collaboration there. When and if we do get more diversity in the school, we're going to try to encourage those candidates, if they join us, to take on leadership roles, if it's appropriate. If we know about any affordable housing, that's a big deal. We will certainly let candidates know. I'm not saying right now I have a list, but we can work on it. I guess the bottom line, what I should tell you is I need approval one more time to have this plan go to the state. There's a deadline. So I couldn't wait for the next meeting. I really had to get this on the agenda. But those are the major points. Otherwise, they liked our plan. Yeah, they had a lot of nice comments. But I need a motion from someone around the table. Okay.
All right.
Katie said she'd second.
I haven't made the motion.
Oh, I thought you accepted. I'm sorry.
No.
Judy did.
Oh, you made the motion?
Yeah.
You read the motion?
Yeah, she said you can read.
Oh, I was going to read it.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead.
It gives me something to do.
No, we're happy.
All right. There is no motion here. We need a motion to approve the revised diversity plan as presented by LCS Diversity Plan 18.
Yeah.
Judy, thank you. Who's second? Katie seconds. Any discussion?
I believe we have to, right now, every year we're supposed to update it. It could change, but right now, yeah. Yep.
I did have one question. So it says here on page 2, risk and mitigation. Under risk and mitigation, it says provide updates on progress and challenges to the Board of Ed.
Yes. It may not happen in this district, so let me first preface my remark. What mitigation strategies are, if there's any conflict around hiring for some reason, someone's upset with hiring diverse staff members. I have to address that as superintendent, you as chair, as to what is the issue. And then come up with strategies where we all can come together and say that this is a good thing to do. So I'm not saying what happened in this district, but it is a part of everyone's plan across the state. And it's called mitigation strategies.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all's in favor? Opposed? All right, you got your plan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, next subject is recent LCS science scores. That's what we're interested in, right?
It's good stuff, absolutely. So in the spring, along with our SBAC, we do have the next generation science standards. The scores did come out. We did very well. Grade 5 for the 23 school year was 44% met or exceeded. Grade 8 was 71 met or exceeded. And what's good to note about the 8th graders, if you go to 2021, notice how 5th grade was 51% of the students met or exceeded. And so if you look at that, it's a 20-point jump. So
Do you see what he's saying? Correct.
yes.
And you just go, yes, that's exactly right. So that's a big deal. Our teachers, oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking you say it.
It is. It's a great deal. It's nice to have Steve Brown back helping us out in the elementary school to help the kids with science, and having Marty in the middle school. I mean, we just have some great science teachers. We really are lucky to have them. The kids just love science, and it's nice that their love for science actually shows up in our test scores too. So we appreciate that.
Totally agree. And also, just so you know, the building blocks, even going up to those grade levels, those teachers have done a phenomenal job too. I know it's not specialized per se, but they do science, and we're very proud of this. This is kind of a big deal. So we're very, very happy. Thank you if staff's here. Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Just expressing a slight possible concern for future, whereas our prior science teachers, we did have the 2 full-time, and for instance, 5th grade was a daily dose of a science-specific teacher. And again, this year's 5th grade class score, okay, was state average, but compared to their SBAC scores, maybe slightly lesser than their comparable SBAC state scores. So just a little concerned that we've lost a little bit of the science-specific instruction that we had because Mr. Brown is only part-time now.
Right.
So rather than having, and again, it is what it is, but rather than having a daily dose in 5th grade, it's whatever, I don't know, is it once or twice a week now with Mr. Brown? And again, I know they get daily science from their classroom instructor, but I feel, as I felt with math and with other areas, that the importance of having a subject-specific teacher, I think, is a great benefit, not only in their love of that subject typically, but also I think in the switching of classes, it does show that that is an area of emphasis. And I'm just concerned that we may not be able to sustain our prior 5th grade levels without that type of dedicated instruction.
So Dave, are you saying departmentalization at 5th grade? I'm trying to just so I can talk it over with the principal. Is that where you're going, or?
Well, I've been in favor of that in the past, but it's a separate conversation.
Oh, okay.
But I do think there has been a change in that what has been the science component until Mr. Brown retired and is only available on a part-time basis. We've gone from, right? I don't want to be speaking incorrectly, but I believe 5th grade was daily science with science-specific instructor prior to his retirement, and now it's far less.
I'll have Mr. Sheldon respond to that.
I think, I could be wrong.
So the students are still having science, but it's 2 days a week is with the science teacher. So they're having science every day. It's just two days with Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown was part-time last year though, right? So in 2022-23 to 23-24, he was full-time. We had 2 full-time in 2022-23. And so last year, our scores still went up from the previous year.
Right. Yeah, they tend.
Again, part of that can be a specific class, a small sample size. That's why the cohort comparison is excellent, showing the improvement from the 5th grade to the 8th grade level. But I'm never a fan of comparing year to year 2 very different classes unless there's something else to balance that with.
I think what we need to do, to be honest with you, as your superintendent, it's just a thought. We need to track it for more than 1 or 2 years. It's usually a 3 to 5 year trend before you really make, I believe, a decision like that. I'm happy to say right now we're on the upward trend. Whoever said it, someone said it. Let's hope we stay there, but we gotta see. We have to wait and see. But, all right, fair enough.
Any other discussion? All right, great. Okay, now, I lost my page.
You want mine?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
Just a matter of finding it.
All right.
Where's it? Postage de charm, right?
Okay.
All right, so the next parking lot, LCS parking lot, and possible action. What are we doing?
Well, I really I did it because I believe one of the board members asked me to put it on the agenda. I don't know exactly what the issue is, except this, that the parking lot entrance is a bit of an issue, and it has been for years. It's not the best laid out plan, but I need to turn to, I think it might be Mr. Lewick.
Give us Joe. Joe's work, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, this is just for long-term planning purposes, but I think we need to put it into the town's sort of agenda that this needs to be addressed. I mean, we've been talking about it for
Years.
15, 20 years
Oh,
now,
since I've been.
you know, that this needs to be improved. And maybe with the fire station opening and that property being purchased by the town, and who knows what's going to happen with the old firehouse, that we can look at it sort of as a, whatever, municipal center type revision of the parking arrangement and the traffic flow throughout the entire complex here. So I think it's bigger than us, but I think we need to be the ones because we probably have the most traffic generated by the school. It was mentioned previously that the buses would probably, you know, benefit from a better flow of traffic, getting rid of the circle, perhaps. Parent pickup, I mean, it's multifaceted, but I don't think we do ourselves any benefit by ignoring it. I think we need to put it on the town's agenda and say, maybe they need to finance a study to see how we can revise it, to fix it, you know, for the entire, again, municipal complex here. That's,
So,
I think it's a great idea.
It was on our grounds.
yeah,
We talked about it in the
we
grounds
talked about
committee.
it, the
Yeah.
grounds committee.
Might be time to bring it
But
back.
the problem is that we needed to talk to the town planner.
right.
And how do we approach that without the whole municipal complex decision being made, right? We don't know what they're gonna do with the town hall, or the old firehouse. I heard they were gonna make it part of the town hall. I don't know.
Yeah,
don't know
I
what
just
the
think we
answer
need to
is.
make sure they understand what our
So
needs
maybe
are.
what we should do is we should highlight what we feel are problems, whether it's egress into the parking lot, flow of traffic, removal of the circle, you know, the early morning drop off in the senior center parking lot. Put that in a letter and send it to the first selectman and say, you know, these are our issues. You know, we don't know what your plan is, but we would like to be included in the conversation.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm looking for is just to make sure they're aware of what we want going forward.
All
so that it doesn't just end up being the firehouse gets developed a particular way and then they ignore these other known issues that we have.
So I'll write a letter and I'll send it to you guys on the Building and Grounds Committee, and we'll talk about it, and then we'll send it to town.
Perhaps we should ask to be on the Board of Selectmen's agenda and then present the letter.
We could do that too.
And we could give them data like the number of cars that are dropping off students, picking up students, the number of buses, the number of employees' cars, you know, so they have an idea. And the sight line there is horrible. And it always has been horrible.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I think you were referring to the property now that's between the firehouse and the school,
Right,
and
the
maybe a whole new entrance, you know, up there in that area, and just sort of redo the whole parking.
Well, we own the
lot
church
layout.
now too. The town owns that church property too.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with the parking up here.
But they could put a road that connects all
Well,
these municipal buildings.
I've had that idea for 20 years, but we need to get the attention.
Right.
And I think by being on the agenda, you know, you could start the conversation. If you just send the letter, it gets flipped.
All right, we'll do that. All right, any more discussion on the parking lot? Thanks, Joe.
No.
I will take that for action and we'll get on it. Let's see. So now we are on to the Ducharme account, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I keep losing this page?
All right, it's easy to do.
Ducharme account and possible action.
Again, I was asked as your superintendent to put on the agenda. All I did was put in your packet just a reminder of what the account was about, what the purpose was, which was to help for the public to go towards LCS in whichever way we deemed appropriate. We also gave you what the letters contain in terms of donation amounts. $600 has been taken out. As you know, you all voted for that, for 2 kids, remember, male, female, okay, and the 3 substitutes. Jonathan also recently got a statement about what's in it right now, which is
That's both accounts, right?
no.
That's just the Gerald.
It's Gerald's, yeah.
Well, the other one's all tied up in that scholarship fund, right?
Right.
All that money.
Yeah,
So that is strictly
it's two
Gerald.
very different things.
Sure.
Ethel's money is the scholarship, and Gerald's is for the Lisbon school.
Right.
So, I don't know, it was you, Mr. Lewick, that asked it to be put on the agenda?
Yeah, well, I think we postponed making any decision.
We did.
Waiting to see who was gonna fund the sidewalk projects, and that money might have gone to that, but I think we're back to where we were previously, which
Yeah.
is, we had a bunch of ideas, and we never really came to a conclusion about what we were going to put the money toward.
That's correct.
So I just think we need to revisit it and commit it to something.
That's a lot of money. Well, our grandkids will be giving out $600 checks, you know, before that money's all spent, right?
Jonathan, can you repeat the amount?
$110,000.
Thank you.
I remember during the request for what people wanted to do with that money, there was talk about using it for field trips. And I know that there's been the discussion of the increased cost for the buses for those large field trips.
Here we go.
And I'm pretty sure that that's part of where this came from, was potentially being able to utilize some of this money to help to reduce that cost for families. So I don't know how decisions have to be made around how to spend this, but I think that that's something to consider, because it definitely has been a increased cost for them year after year.
I think we had done a survey before and had gotten a lot of results, a lot of ideas. We tabled all of that because of the walkway. I think that information is outdated, and I think we should just do a survey again. And then any ideas the staff, the public, anyone can put in, and then the board can figure out what they want to do with the money.
All right, who put together the survey the last time?
Joan Marshall.
Joan Marshall. Thank
Who's
you.
gonna do it this time?
Perhaps if we asked her.
Oh, you would? Okay.
I
Thank
didn't
you.
hear that.
Brady Larkin said.
Oh, okay.
That's nice of you. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I remember that because
Yeah.
Joan, yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks.
And then bring it back to the board.
Yeah.
Is it worth on that? I know we went through the whole list before and, picked some things that we thought, I just don't want the people to feel like we've done all this before. What did they do with our results before? If we had some of the good ideas, we can maybe at least mention them in this, these are the items that are still being considered. So we don't feel like we're just starting completely over and not taking into account what they said before.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But we didn't categorize any of the suggestions. We were at the point to start doing that when the walkway came up and the money was set aside in case we needed it for that. So I think we can say, yes, we know we surveyed you. It was probably 2 years ago now, and talk a little bit about the walkway. And so as a new starting point, could you resubmit?
Knowing what we have now for a budget and stuff.
And this is more money. I think when we first started, it was only the 74,000. So I don't know.
Okay. So you're gonna put together the survey. We'll all respond and we'll bring it back to the October meeting.
Sure.
You think we can get it done by then?
Okay.
All right.
And by getting it done, you mean the survey written so we can approve it?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
That's great.
All right, very good. Next topic of discussion would be comment of Board of Education and possible action. So this was my addition to the agenda, and I wanted to talk to the board about it. So we have this blurb at the top of the our meeting that says that public comment is restricted to only items on the agenda, which seems completely ridiculous to me, right? The purpose of public comment is for people to come and air any issues that they may have with the board or the school or the administration. And it shouldn't be limited to the things that we've decided ahead of time to talk about, right?
Well, that's the second wave we allow anything.
Right.
There was the pre was agenda only, the post was anything.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Just to clarify
Yes.
That's how we have it now.
That's correct.
And the board approved that.
That's right. Went to a vote.
Right.
The agenda items were on
Right.
pre, so we
Wait.
didn't have an hour of comments at the pre that were not on the agenda, but those are committed and willing to stay for the meeting.
Or come in later.
Or come in later, then at the end, it's not limited
Right.
to agenda.
That's right.
Just to clarify, we don't not allow non-agenda items, it's just the timing of it and then approve for the post comments.
Right.
not the pre.
So, but previously, anybody could say anything before and after for public comment, and the board felt strongly that it,
I agree,
and
I'm just trying to
yeah, and
clarify
the,
the way it's written now.
right, but it was relatively recently that the board decided on the policy they have now.
So, does anyone else on the board feel that we should readdress this? I mean, to me, public comment is right at the beginning of our meeting. I think they should be able to say whatever they feel like they need to say. I don't think it should be restricted to the agenda items, personally.
I'm gonna say that I completely agree with you, because there may be something that somebody, a member of the audience, wants to say, and then say you decide to add it to the agenda, we have a conversation, then they wanna come and follow up on it.
Right.
So I personally am against limiting it at the beginning.
And part of limiting it was time constraints, like Dave referred to.
We can always take the limitation away, but leave it as it was discussed before, as like a time, like a 20-minute window as an open discussion.
And I think we discussed that before.
We did.
And the thing is, if you're waiting to make your comment and time's up, that's not fair either.
No, you have to wait till the end of the meeting.
Well,
So then we moved it
we
all
already,
to the
we
end of
already
the
limit
meeting.
each individual to 3 minutes, right? So
And we already do that.
we already do that. And again, I don't understand why we have that provision in there. It
Because-
really isn't a time factor. If we're limiting it to 3 minutes, whether they talk at the beginning of the meeting or the end of the meeting, it really doesn't matter.
They were talking at the beginning and at the end. And all we need to do is remember what it was like, and it wasn't that long ago.
I understand that. I think that blurb was written for a specific issue.
No, I don't believe that.
You don't think so?
No.
All right.
I think it does make it very difficult though if people have, much like this evening, right? So we have people who showed up who had concerns that are not on the agenda, and without having been allowed to speak at the beginning of the agenda, it doesn't give us the opportunity to know before we have the additions to the agenda. Because the public comment is after that section. So in order to facilitate this relationship between the public and the board and to be able to address concerns in a timely manner, not allowing them to give us those concerns in the beginning of the meeting to allow us the opportunity to decide whether or not it's something that we need to address tonight or can put off until the next meeting is very unfair, I think.
I already had a note here to add the dress code to the agenda.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't part of any conversation. I just knew that from being in touch with the community.
All right, well, I want to see where the board stands. I want to make a motion to eliminate that clause.
I had one additional comment. I do think there was some impetus for this on some prior actions, and I think the benefit of it was somewhat achieved because we had at least one, and forgive me if my memory is not correct, at least one meeting that had to be essentially canceled due to some
angry residents
who wouldn't speak to the issues and were bringing up other things. If non-agenda, you can go way off topic, and I think having the advantage of the beginning of the meeting being limited to agenda and items can be added to the agenda. Maybe that's one thing. I don't know if Robert's Rules of Order allows this, but if there are any additions to the agenda, if that could be made prior to the public comment, maybe that solves it. I don't know whether that's permissible under the order of Robert's Rules of Order, but if, for instance, Judy wanted to add the dress code to tonight's agenda, and that was something that is done prior to the public comment, and the board agrees to add that to, adding that to the agenda, then those speaking to that topic would be permitted prior to the meeting. But to have somebody come up and derail the meeting with something that is talking about, I don't know, alien. I'm just throwing something kind of bizarre out there as a never happened, but could happen. I think there's something to be said for speaking to items on the agenda at the time of the beginning. Just
So
my
what if a resident came to the board at the beginning of the meeting and had a safety concern or a policy concern or something that needed immediate attention from this board? We wouldn't have the opportunity to address it at that meeting because the public comment that they were allowed to speak at is after we can add anything to the agenda.
Supposing we move that last public comment up to before the next agenda, the additions to the agenda. So take 14 and move it up to either 11 or 12. And then you could have public comment and then additions to the agenda could be made and it would address your concern, Ann.
But if you were to do that, then the public wouldn't be able to come up with a rebuttal if they had any further questions based off of what was discussed here at the table. So by allowing them to speak at the beginning of the meeting and then following the conclusion of our discussion, we're hearing both a before and an after from the constituents.
The thing is, the board doesn't always act on it. It's something right away. We're most likely going to table whatever the issue is.
And I think most times you need to. I think some of the onus, if something is that critical, I think the onus is on that individual to contact the board chair prior and have that item added to the agenda so that the rest of the public knows it's on the agenda. I think we run into problems if we're adding items to an agenda that has been published that may be of concern to parents who, not knowing that that item would be on the agenda, would have no reason to be at this meeting. But if someone is allowed to speak to an item that's not on the agenda, we add it to the agenda, and we take any action on that item, I would be upset as a community member who was not provided that opportunity to be here to also perhaps speak towards that topic. So I think some of the burden has to fall on the individual to contact the board in advance. Please add this to the agenda. It's then on the agenda. All members of the community have the opportunity to come and speak to that topic on the agenda, and it's on the agenda. We're not trying to be accused then of adding something loosey-goosey to the agenda that we're acting on in any way. Pushing it through where the majority of the community had no idea, if you read what is published, that that would be on the agenda and could be acted upon.
But all members of the public have the opportunity to be present at the meetings, and whether or not they choose to is up to them. But given the fact that but that's fine, you might choose that based on the agenda, but if there's something that happens on a Friday and they feel that it is pertinent for the Board of Education to be aware of it, they should have the right to bring it to the Board of Education when we meet on Monday. And it's unfair to continuously limit the public's ability to communicate with the Board of Education in an effective and efficient manner.
In reality, if the board discusses the dress code and has a suggestion, it's supposed to go back to the committee. The committee will then address it. The committee will then bring it back to the board, which means it will be a month or more before that happens. So it really doesn't make any difference, in my opinion, when the comment is made.
Right, but you're assuming that it's just going to be something that's based off of policy. It could be something that the Board of Education chooses to discuss and asks the superintendent to follow up on, and giving the public the ability to bring that before the board in the beginning, to have us have a discussion, and even to have us have a discussion and table it for the next meeting. It gives them the opportunity to come back and say, thank you, based off of your discussion, this is my follow-up opinion on that. And maybe it's resolved whatever their concern was. But us taking away the ability for them to be able to do that is unfair. And we all know how long these meetings can be. And so saying like, oh, the strong survived because they held out the whole time. Some people don't have the ability to be here all night long and have to go home to their children. And it's unfair of us to say, well, you couldn't make it until 10 o'clock at night to do that public comment, so you don't get to bring those issues before the board. That's not fair. And quite frankly, we are the only board in town who has this limitation, and it's not fair to the public to have one board act one way when all the rest act a different way.
I think we need to vote.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to eliminate that clause from our agenda, and we'll see what the whole board feels. All right, so the motion's on the table.
Wait a minute.
You want me to articulate it?
Well, can you specify what exactly
Yes.
is going to be allowed then?
So I want to eliminate, the sentence that says, where's my blurb?
Right there.
I need a magnifying glass to read that one. All right, I want to eliminate the public comment blurb that says, per discussion on, it says public comment will be limited to items on this meeting's agenda. I want to eliminate that sentence.
Can you say that, please?
I want to make a motion to eliminate the sentence that says public comment will be limited to items on this meeting's agenda.
But everything else stays the same.
It'll still say speakers must state their name, state the item in which they will speak, and everything remains the same.
Okay. And the three minutes limit.
Yeah, everything else is the same.
So the addition of items under new business is an entirely different issue, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I share Dave's concern that we're treading on some legally difficult grounds if you're going to add items onto the agenda of significance that the rest of the public isn't aware of if they're not here. You may infringe on their rights to be informed of significant, decisions that are going to be made here.
I agree.
Yeah, so I'm fine with, you know, your change as long as that's the limit to it.
Well, I know I'm not the board, but, I just would like to weigh in one way or the other. I think we should check this legally with Jessica Ritter.
This
And
was
then-
just added.
I know.
We never had that before.
No, based upon his comment.
But he's not saying he's
I'm
gonna
not
add
saying
anything
we're
to the agenda.
changing it.
Right, yeah, so as long as we're not attempting to address, like, adding things to the agenda.
Oh, you're not gonna do
No,
that
no.
second?
No,
Oh, I thought you were still gonna follow up with that.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, then, okay, then forget what I said.
I just wanted to clarify what exactly
Yeah, me
you were
too.
proposing.
I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna go there next.
So
All right.
just eliminating that one.
I just want to
one clause.
eliminate the sentence that says that the public has to only speak to things that are on the
Right,
agenda.
yeah, as long as, yeah, I
And
just
it
want to
stays
clarify.
there.
And it stays there.
Okay. Well, it's a
Right.
board vote, not a superintendent.
Right. All right, so the motion's on the table. We're gonna get a second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
All's in favor? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I lost
6.
it now.
Opposed? 2. All right, so the motion passes.
And who did one and who did two? I'm sorry. Who did one?
I did one.
Okay, gotcha. I got two. All right.
All right, very good. Thank you. Yep. I don't think it's gonna be painful. I really don't. I think it's fair.
I did something.
If it becomes painful, we'll bring it back.
If it
Oh.
does become painful, we can revisit it and bring it back.
You know, oh, the side.
We weren't having side comments, we just weren't leaning in.
All right, review of attorney-client privilege memorandum.
Yeah.
billing Claims.
Yep.
So
Executive.
we want to move this to executive
Yep.
session. All right,
Okay.
yeah. So we need a motion to move that. You just made it?
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
all's in favor?
I,
Opposed? All right, so we're gonna move it. All right, committee reports. None?
we didn't meet. The policy committee had to change our date. We couldn't meet this time, so we have a new date set for Thursday,
It's
the
Thursday.
19th,
Yeah, 8:30.
8:30 a.m.
Yep.
So the negotiation committee, we're going to our third meeting, with the LEA negotiation and, attorneys. Our third meeting is Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. It's not an open meeting, so the public can't be there. And that's where we're at. We don't have a contract yet. All right, additions to the agenda. Anybody want to add something?
Yeah, so I think that we should discuss the dress code and whether or not we want to bring it back to the policy committee for revision.
Okay. And, is that the only addition? And next agenda, planning. What do we want to add?
And then wanted to
Oh,
add,
excuse me.
I'm
You go ahead
sorry.
first. No, you go ahead.
the
I'll go
electronic signature.
SBAC. SBAC
Yep,
scores.
SBAC.
It's up to the board.
Be nice to see LA too. Yeah. And, Ducharme survey for next month's agenda. All right, so,
Jen has something, I think.
yeah, we might as well, right? This is gonna go back to policy.
It's up to the board.
You anticipate a bunch of policies for next month?
Well, we do have a meeting this week, and there are several that we'll be reviewing. So if
All right.
we want to do policies, and then we'll
Yeah, we
put
can
all
go
of them.
over at
Okay.
the same session. All right, so, we want to add this, policy or this, dress code thing
Yep.
to this month's agenda. All right, so who wants to lead the discussion? I'll lead it. So
Okay.
I got a very nice letter from a resident, saying that, there was an issue with our current policy and that, she said a lot of things, but she felt like in some ways they were targeting girls. The enforcement was targeting girls, which I don't believe is the case. But she said that the current policy reads that mid-thigh for shorts and skirts is too vague. Different body types, things like that. And they would like to get back to fingertip length, right? Which, in my research from reading these dress code policies for the last 6 months, was that's the way it is in many, many schools, fingertip length. So I don't know if we want to look at that policy and maybe add that. We could say mid-thigh or fingertip length. Right,
I think that what they're asking for is for clarity, and if we were to do that, you're adding more ambiguity.
Okay.
And so part of, we didn't make any changes to this section, right? The only changes that we did make were that they could not show their upper thigh, so that was to cover those holes in the shorts and jeans and whatever with the new style, and that they couldn't show their undergarments. And we did discuss that length, the fingertip rule, and pulled up pictures on, and looked into this different. And the fingertip rule seemed to be more ambiguous due to body type than mid-thigh, because everybody's fingertip length falls at a different spot on their body, right? But everyone had a mid-thigh. And so it does seem like perhaps the issue is not necessarily with the policy itself, but with the way that it's being enforced right now. And so is there a difference in the way that we're looking at the policy this year? And again, this is why the policy got brought to us last year, was we were now enforcing the policy of the pajama pants versus not enforcing it, right? So I will say we also discussed the inseam, and the inseam became an issue too, because dresses and skirts don't have inseams, and so you can't put an inseam rule in there. So I mean, we're kind of at a, like, how do you become more specific? And we did put hours and months into this policy to make sure that people did not feel targeted, and especially with women's bodies, females' bodies, because everybody's body develops at different times, and the different clothes that they wear and the different styles that are out are very, very difficult. But in our discussion and in our research, the fingertip rule had been more ambiguous than the mid-thigh length.
And you guys did a great job in your defense, and if people weren't privy to it, number of times that the specific comment that we wanted to make sure this was not in any way unfair to either gender, and you guys did a tremendous job trying to ensure that wasn't the case. I just want to say that.
And you did a good job.
And then the interpretation is that it is gender specific. I would like to know what's happened since the kids came back to school. So how many violations have there been? What are the punishments? Is it all at the beginning of the day? Is it any time during the day?
Are there specific teachers? And I think that there's also I'd like to follow up the data on, are kids being pulled out of class to address issues, or like, because that feels like we're really singling them out as well. And
But that's why I wanted the administration to give us the information.
Because what we found is what was discussed at policy as well as at this table.
Is
So-
what?
Well,
Okay,
it's his
go ahead.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll jump in.
So what we did, we knew that it was going to be a hot topic. So we waited to make sure that Megan and I went into all the classrooms first to speak to the kids. We gave them a copy of the picture. We made sure that the posters were up when the kids came to school so they could visually see what was going on. We went into the classrooms. We spoke about it. We also gave the picture. We sent it home to parents. So even though we had teachers coming to us and said, oh, Johnny or Susie or whatever is going on with the dress code violation, we hadn't communicated with the public again. And so it went out. We sent an email to the parents saying, on Monday, this is what's going to be doing. This is what's going to happen. And we let them know what the violations was going to be in terms of their offenses. So we sent this document home to everyone so that it should have been the dear parents and friends.
It was.
Okay.
Oh, well, we didn't know that. Okay. You can't open it. No.
I saw it.
So we wanted to make sure that it went out to families before we did anything, and it did. So once Monday came, we sent an email out to staff, said, okay, this is the expectations, this is what we're doing. this is what we're going to follow. No students have been written up. So in terms of discipline records, no student has a discipline record over this. What it is a documented violation, basically, to say, okay, this is your first offense. This is what happened. And we did call parents, and we did have parents bring in some clothes. When we were made aware of when the students or who the students were, we did bring them down. The start of the day, trying to get to kids, both Megan and myself are doing the duties. So once the teachers make us aware of what's going on, that's when we bring them down. And yes, we probably had maybe 9 kids that we've
so far. And what kind of violations were there?
Shorts.
And how
shorts.
How do you determine that it's not mid-thigh?
We looked where their mid-thigh was, and it was above their mid-thigh. So
and were there boys and girls of these 9 kids?
We didn't have any boys.
Okay, so it's just girls.
We just had girls, yes.
And these are the kind of things I expressed in all the meetings.
So just to let you know too, in no way, shape, or form did any ruler come out and we start measuring.
Yeah. Right.
So that did not happen. Yeah.
So I think one of the reasons why we kept it mid-thigh was because like mid-thigh is this like section, right? It's there was already this upper thigh thing, right? Like you can't show your upper thigh. And so I'm not you, right? Like I have no idea. I've not seen what you guys have seen, and I don't envy you at all because you see a lot of kids and you deal with a lot of stuff. And so I think that part of the conversation is how do we ensure that the kids who do have these issues aren't feeling singled out and being pulled out of class.
They are being singled out.
But also with regard to the violations, when I had become aware of this conversation in the community, I went back through the handbook to look because I hadn't seen that paper that had come through. And the handbook does say that I don't remember the exact language, but that your admin regulations is how we would be following like the violations. And I couldn't find it anywhere on the website. So I just wanted to follow up with you guys so that we can make sure that that information is just as handy as the dress code itself so that all parents can kind of be aware as to, what to expect with it. And I mean, it's hot in the beginning of the school year, right? So kids are going to wear shorts, and I'm sure that parents aren't going out and buying new shorts for the end of the summer when their kids have had a growth spurt and they're only going to wear them for a few more weeks. So it does sound like there could be some conversation about how we could improve this so that our female students aren't feeling like they are being targeted, because we do know that fashion for boys give us these shorts that can tend to be looser fitting and longer. I don't know what the solution is, but it sounds like our female students are feeling targeted, and I don't think that was anybody's intention at this table, was to make our female students feel like they should not be comfortable in their clothes.
So I'm just confused where the verbiage didn't change from last year to this year. So where are all these issues coming from? Like to me, it sounds like it's not policy, it's enforcement.
I'm starting to feel that way too.
So are you asking us a question?
I mean,
No, I'm just saying
we've had
that.
a conversation at the policy committee
We did.
that mid-thigh when you're standing, it's fine. Obviously, when you sit, they're going to rise up. Or if you bend over, they're going to rise up. They're shorts. That's expected. So, I mean, I'm getting the impression that a lot of people in the community or in this room right now don't feel like their children were wearing clothes that were above mid-thigh. So I guess I'm just confused as to why we're having this issue this year, but we didn't have it last year.
Probably because as we discussed that policy as well as around this table, that we were going to enforce it, that it wasn't being enforced. That was the statement. So my administration team, they're enforcing it. From what I understand, because now I feel I do have to jump in, although I wasn't immediately involved. However, I was involved with the policy and the regs, which don't go on the website because we were told not to put regs on the website, but maybe I can revisit that. This is exactly what we talked about at the policy level, as well as at this point. I can remember one of the board people said, instead of singling them out, have the teacher point to the picture on the wall, which is what we do. They do. I can't tell you I do it, but they do it, and I know they do it. So I'm the superintendent, so I'm taking the lead on this. For better or for worse. And by the way, you have every right to be here to talk, so don't misread me, please. I'm glad you're here. But anyway, to point to the picture on the wall, the kid is in violation. A phone call, as we discussed, would go down to Megan Jenkins, which it does, and then they come down. And that's what we discussed, and that's what we're doing. If we want to change that for any reason, I guess you could talk to us about it right now, or later, or someday. I don't want to put him on the spot.
At least one student feels as though they got an in-school suspension. She feels that way.
I don't know about it.
That's why I asked what was going on.
Well, not that I have to be, but I'm not aware of an in-school suspension for dress code.
But obviously she must have misunderstood. But that's the perception. So how does she feel?
I don't know, but did the parent call you? Do you know about this?
No.
I think the only way to fix that is to have communication between the parent and the principal, or Mrs. Jenkins. Don't get me wrong.
Do you mind? Could I address
Well,
the
it's up to
IS?
you. Okay.
You're the enforcer, go ahead.
Okay.
So no
You're the
student,
enforcer.
the parents, when we've called to have clothes brought in, the parents have brought clothes in fairly quickly. So no student has been in removed from class for a long period of time at all. No one has received an ISS. Again, no one has received a write-up. They've received written documentation saying, the parents have, saying this is the first violation. They were given the policy, and that's how we've handled it. No one has had any discipline, if you will.
Can I make a suggestion though?
Sure.
So I don't know how old these kids are. But when the principal comes in, usually, I mean, when I was a kid, if the principal came in and grabbed me by the ear, I was in trouble and everybody made fun of me, right? So if we, is there a way that, you know, if there is a violation, could we do it like, you know, call the parents, say, hey, you know, the kid's dressed inappropriately, can you bring him some clothes and don't pull the kid out of class?
Or could the kid just finish out the school day with what they have on and just be told, don't wear it to school again?
Don't wear it again.
You know, this is sort of the can of worms that I anticipated.
I agree with that for the first time.
I think that it also, though, and it's written in that, is like, it depends on the level of the inappropriateness, right? So if a student is witnessed with their butt cheeks hanging out of their shorts, that's something that they're going to address and ask for it to be corrected in the school day, right? Not that I'm saying that I think that that's what's happening in this, but I don't think that we can write a blanket statement that says they're going to be allowed to remain in those clothes for the entire day. However,
I think there's some perception from the kids that they feel that they are, Mr. Sheldon. I think that's what it is. Like the kids are coming home saying they're getting ISS, that they're afraid to get ISS. Like there's this fear in them, then they don't want to come to school.
And we should clarify by saying not kids, we should say girls.
Well,
Because
right now it's girls, Judy, but it doesn't mean that it's always going to be girls.
No, but we're talking about girls right now.
We are right now because we haven't had an issue, but last year there were issues with boys.
And
so this
no,
year
but
we're
what I'm
lucky so
saying
far.
is right now it's girls that are going home. It's not girls and boys. It's just the girls are going home.
Right, but it's still new. Nobody's going home, but they're going to the office.
You were just saying they go home and they tell their family how they feel.
Well, so far the girls go home, yes, and they'll say that they are feeling this way. So there's a fear that they are going to get in trouble. They don't want to know. They don't know how to dress. So I think it's the perception from the child that is an issue.
it does also, from what I've heard, and so please forgive me if I'm incorrect, but from what I've heard in the community, it does seem like it's our younger female students as well who may not have been subjected to the dress code in previous years, because we did alter the dress code to being 4th through 8th grade. But again, perhaps one thing that we can do is we can clarify what is determined as upper thigh versus what mid thigh.
We did talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
We in fairness, we did talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to
The
figure
new
out.
recommended policy from Shipman and Goodwin excludes mid thigh. It doesn't say anything about it. It
Right, but
literally just
when
says
we-
do not show thighs or undergarment.
When we discussed this,
don't show thighs, then you can't wear shorts.
right,
So that's not fair either.
or upper thighs. Right, and but when we did discuss this though, the reason why we needed to make sure there was some level of measurement to gauge is that we have had students who have shown up that have not had appropriate length attire that have had to be addressed. So we did explore the idea of not having a point of measurement, so to speak.
And public comment also addressed that teachers are not dressing the same way that your dress code is. So do we address that?
Well, the dress code is for
It's
students,
for
not
students.
for.
If you want a dress code for adults, then we can,
Well,
that's up to you.
negotiating committee.
But that, we don't have control over it.
Those are
No,
employees. We don't have
it's
to.
public
control that.
comment.
That's you.
That's Sally.
No, wait a minute. Oh, put the bear on everybody.
So the dress code that we
There
can
is no
discuss
policy
right now.
For the dress code for employees. If you want a policy, I can look into it with Jessica Ritter. I don't know really whether we need that, but right now I don't think we do, but maybe I'm wrong. But that would be a legal question.
It's just a point that was made during public comment.
Yeah, I know, and we're just discussing it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so are we all saying that we're in favor of bringing this back to the policy committee to see if we can provide further clarification? Or are we asking that
Good luck.
there be, or are we asking that there be some more discussion with the admin team about how stringent mid-thigh is?
Well, I just, we do.
Oh, yeah, at least.
It's multitude.
Is it a policy issue about mid-thigh, whether the fingertip plan works? Because again, not everyone's reach equals their height. And as you know, some people who may have a longer reach, their arms would reach almost to their knees, where others barely reach past their pocket. So I understand why we eliminated that. I don't know how to describe mid-thigh other than medically between the midpoint between the femur where it reaches your, and again, that gets a little complicated breaking out, trying to touch. So where is that hip joint of yours?
Yeah.
It's probably not our best method. But lacking that, this distance thing is topic A. We've also jumped greatly into the enforcement side of it, and I think you have to be a little bit careful of just saying, I will get through the day until we can happen again. So I've got kids, I know I was a kid, and I know I got one freebie. I'm wearing pajamas tomorrow. But I'm gonna get my freebie. I'm gonna get my freebie in.
You're right.
I know I would. Okay, so, and then next time I think, I might not wear pajamas, but I might wear something else. You told me I could wear pajamas, but this is a different violation. I get another freebie. I'm just opening the conversation, and I think it's a little bit unfair to say a policy was made, they enforced the policy as it was written, they're kind of doing what we guided them to do. If we want to change the guidance of what we want the admin team to do, that is a separate conversation. I don't have an answer for either one. I'm just saying we have two very different conversations.
We did discuss this, and we discussed, we did. So I had to be transparent to everybody. And again, if you want to change the policy as board, that's your.
But there is no, doesn't seem like there is a way to
I don't
change.
feel that
Well,
we
I
should change the
can
policy.
help.
Can I
I
be
asked
transparent
them to-
too? Because I'd like to be transparent too.
Okay.
I will 100% say that I think that it's the enforcement of this policy because I sent my child to school today in something that I knew she should be dress coded for and she wasn't. So I really, there's got to be something that we can come up together with the admin and with the Board of Ed and the public as parents where we can say we are all comfortable and we feel, I know that you are doing your best to enforce it. You have 400 and something students in this school, and so you're not going to catch everybody, right? But that's where people are feeling slighted, right? So if we can't get it across the board, how close can we get this so that our students are not feeling like they are being targeted or that they're not scared to come to school in shorts? How can we do that? And so I don't have the answer. I don't think that anybody has the answer right now. There's no like straightforward answer. If there was, it wouldn't be a policy, so just, yeah. And I'm not saying that it's an enforcement where it's not, and I'm not saying that it's an enforcement where it's being biased, unbiased, you know what I mean? I think it's just, it's being enforced. And so it's being enforced. Maybe there's a sixth grade teacher who's very good at notifying the admin when they feel like there's an issue. And so that's where the admin is able to address it.
Right.
But maybe there's another teacher who didn't have the opportunity. Maybe my kid's classroom had a stuff today. I don't know what happened, right? But neither do the other students. And so we have to come together and we have to find a better way
so that our students, because it's not anybody else who's suffering here, it's the students who are suffering, who are feeling like they're being targeted, and that's not fair to them. So I don't have the solution.
I do have a question, as superintendent, and I don't know how it's gonna be received, but I'm hoping I didn't hear this correctly. That a child was sent purposely into the school?
No, not purposely. I sent her with pants and said, you are gonna get dress coded, because that's too short. And she said, absolutely not. I said, you better bring pants, because I'm not coming to save
So
you.
she did send her.
I'd like to come together too and work together, and that means all of us around the table as well as the community. I'm not dismissing the community.
When we were talking about this, I think we did throw out specifics because the administration kind of felt if they wanted us to enforce this policy, we needed to be very clear with how we wanted it enforced. However, I think mid-thigh, it is kind of vague and it's kind of hard. And so we this dress code policy is just messy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back to policy.
Because now they're enforcing stuff and there's ambiguity to what they're enforcing, and it's an issue again.
Yeah.
And so
And
do we
if
have
the
to be more
policy
specific
committee-
with the policy so we can make sure
I do think it's a policy
we have
issue.
clear.
But if a policy committee member is going to send their kid to school in shorts and pants and a backpack, that's sort of undermining
so
everything.
you can argue that all you want. I purposefully sent my child to school with clothes so that if she got dress coded, which I felt she would get dress coded and she wanted to argue, she was sent with clothes. So you can focus on that all you want. The thing is the fact of the matter, every single parent sitting there, every single parent that sends their child to school cannot forcibly dress their child and makes the best decisions that they can. So when my kid, and I looked at her and said, you are going to get dress coded, said, no, I'm not. I said, you better bring pants. So yes, I did. And you guys can be upset about it all you want. I'm not going to pretend that I am the perfect parent and send my kid to school every single day, pleasing every single person, because sometimes it's just getting your kid to school. And I think that that's what everybody is saying right now is sometimes we have to make sure that our kids are comfortable at school.
So I think we should go back to what the high schools do. You have a written policy and you put it in a drawer and the kids wear what they want to wear.
Well, I don't think that.
And then we're done.
I don't think that we have a written policy that we're ignoring. I think that what we need to do is maybe we don't need to be so specific, right? So maybe we need to say, are your undergarments and your anatomy covered? Right? Is that what we're saying? Like because how else are you going to write this? There's no way else that we're going to be able to write this that's going to say the girls are not going to, like, there's just no way to do it, guys. How do you
go
do
back
it?
to what we had with the pajama pants? We weren't doing all of this then.
But we eliminated pajama pants completely.
That policy is what I'm talking about.
How about khaki pants and blue shirts?
Oh, I agree, Ann.
I think we should send this back down to policy, and you guys, administration meets with policy, correct?
Yeah, they absolutely are part of the
driving
reason.
force to this.
Yeah, and that's just
we
because we tried to make it so that they didn't have to have all
trying to
No, no, no.
We didn't say we weren't.
No, yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
We're
just so
saying
I'm clear.
we are trying to support them the best we can. So if it does come back to policy, we're going to continue to do that.
And again, I'm not saying that there is an issue with enforcement being like you're picking and choosing who you're enforcing. The issue is it's being enforced, right, where it hadn't been before, and you're doing your best with the resources that you have. So how can we reduce the stress on parents and administration and children?
Perhaps there needs to be an adjustment to the enforcement. Be gentle.
Can I say something, please?
Yeah,
I'm a little upset. I will say that you say your child purposely.
Yeah.
I did not send her
so,
purposely.
But because the thing is, so hold on. Can I speak, please? Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you have a chance.
So we are trying to be consistent. In no way, shape, or form do we want to go into a classroom and say, okay, you. We do not want to do that.
Right.
We can only enforce if it's brought to our attention. Our job is to enforce policy, and that's what we are doing. We're trying to be as consistent as we possibly can. That's what we're trying to do. If we see it, we call them on it. But we do not want to shame anyone. We don't want to embarrass. We don't. So to hear that some of these kids are feeling this way, that's not our intention, parents, at all.
Right.
We don't want that for our kids. But I will be honest, Brandy, and we're a team, and I get that. But
Yeah.
when you said that, I
No, and
I
again,
gasped.
I said I sent my child to school knowing she was going to be dress coded. I did not say I purposefully did it. I didn't tell her what to wear. I sent her in something that she said, I'm not. And I said, you absolutely are. And I said, pack pants because I'm not coming to save you when you get dress coded. Because again, I helped to write the policy. I know what it looks like. If anybody, I knew she was going to get dress coded. I was surprised when she wasn't. That's not to say that it wasn't. It was because people walk by and we're like, it's Brianna, we like her. It's because you have a million things that you're doing. And there are a bunch of teachers and a bunch of students who are also your concerns. What's to say you guys didn't have an emergency that came up today and nobody got dress coded? Hey, good day for you that you didn't have to dress code anybody, right? But what it comes down to is it's being enforced. I'm not saying it's being enforced intentionally, on purposefully, biasly against any students. It's being enforced, and that's what the issue is coming to. It wasn't to say that you guys are enforcing it skewed. It's that we know that it wasn't being enforced last year. It's being enforced this year. It's now become another topic of conversation. Last year was the pajama pants. We were able to dress with that. We've addressed it. Now it's the bottoms, and we can't say that it's just shorts because girls wear dresses and skirts.
What do you need?
And
Oh, hang on.
Okay.
Oh, I got you.
Just standing up for Brandy here. I think there was some your first statement may have been either misheard or it wasn't clarified. So I think you made it very clear now. You've done what most parents responsibly would do. You had the argument with your teenage kid and you told them, I'm not going to bail you out, pack a pair of pants, and it's probably going to be an issue. I think when you first stated it, it made it sound like, and again, just to clarify, I think you did what most parents are going to battle with a teenage kid saying, it's your ship, you're sailing it, here's a backup plan, which I think there was nothing, I'm just trying to stand up for what you did, but the initial statement kind of came across
and I can
as
see that, and so I do apologize.
You sent her knowingly and violently, and it sounded like a little bit of a tweak, but I think your clarification was perfectly good. My other thing, I think our biggest issue now is with the everything else seems to be okay, other than the thigh issue.
Yeah.
So maybe a little more research. I know there's different things out there, whether there's a better description and quantification of what level is acceptable other than the fingertips or the mid-thigh definition. Maybe something is out there. I don't know. I don't know if it is. I know you guys searched and did a great job.
No, and I think that part of the struggle too is that every body is different, right? So on the front, it might be mid-thigh, but maybe somebody has a little bit more on the back side and it's not mid-thigh there, right? So it's always going to be a struggle. So how do we just make it so that the admin is not constantly having to deal with
and that seems like 98% of the issue here, right? Seems like the rest of the dress code
seems to be working.
Is all working. Who knows what winter will bring? But right now, it seems like that one issue is accounting for a great deal of it. And the other thing I'll say, if I'm a male middle school teacher and I see a female in violation of this particular thing, I am probably going to ask a female colleague to make this conversation, because I can see it very quickly becoming, he's the guy that looks at every girl's parts when they're focusing too much on it. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, that's part of why we wanted to give the visual, right? So that there's that cue that they can say, hey, listen. But I think that the visual, it's a picture, right? Like it's just a picture. It's not displaying all the different body types, all the different variations that you're going to have. And so, I mean, we can bring it back to the policy committee. We can continue to look at different iterations of what this section looks like in different schools around, and welcome if other people have suggestions to send them in so that they are part of the conversation. I think everybody can reach Mr. Sheldon or Ms. Keating by their email addresses. If they want that, they can pass that along to us. If somebody has a suggestion or says, hey, my nephew's cousin's whatever goes to this school and it works great, send it along, because we've been
working on this thing.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I just don't know that I don't think that all of
We also sent out a survey.
I don't
We
think
didn't
all of
want
our
to
email
make
addresses were
rash
publicized.
changes
You did
to
do
the
a
policy.
survey. Yeah.
And it was disappointing. We had 22 respondents. out of 400 and however
did.
many, 20.
So,
Oh,
All
I
right,
did not
so
send it.
let's,
the survey was
No.
sent via email,
Wasn't
correct?
me.
let's,
It was via email though, yeah.
It was sent via email.
let's move on.
Yep, it was in the
I
Dear
think so.
Parents and Friends letter. It was a link in a Dear Parents and Friends letter. So you don't you can't open the
Are
link.
the links a problem? Well, that's a
I know,
story for another time.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about it later.
All right, let's move
Links
on.
might be a problem.
We're
Well-
gonna send this back down to policy and the administration,
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
assuming is gonna talk further about this,
Sure.
you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So okay. Are we gonna talk about the violations too? Because I feel like there could be some discussion about that as well. Because I don't feel like it's just this policy, I feel like it's both. So I think perhaps we need to take that violation and put it in conjunction in the policy meeting and kind of see if we can soften that a little bit.
Sure. We already did a discussion of this, but we can do it again.
Yeah, I'm thinking we
can do
should
it again.
revisit everything
Yeah.
because
All right.
I don't feel like it's just this policy.
Let's do that in committee, all right?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a problem.
Okay,
I don't. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, good thinking, thanks. That's good. Right. Oh,
I'm almost afraid to say this, public comment.
Perhaps if you didn't receive a survey, you could announce that you didn't receive your survey and a way that you would prefer to receive that survey.
Oh, did someone fall? Oh, I thought someone fell.
Good news is cool weather's coming. Wear shorts.
What? Oh, the second? Oh, I just saw it different. Sorry. Yes, there's a second sheet up here. I like it.
Something beautiful.
No, it has to be this one, Dave. All right, teamwork makes the dream work. All right.
Shorts.
Hi, I'm Stacey Gordon, LEA president. I just want to say the ADA walkway looks amazing. So nice job, love it. And I loved hearing that there's going to be a pathway to the fire station. Love keeping that partnership going. So thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Dingovan. I live at 133 North Burnham Highway. Honestly, about the survey, I didn't get the survey, whether it was in that in a link. I know we are all busy and I'm not going to open up every single one of those links. So if it's something important and pertinent, I think it would be separate in a separate email with that title would be better. I mean, we get the phone calls, we get the emails, we get the text messages, and sometimes it's just a little redundant. So I think that maybe if it was something specific and pertinent to this level, that might cause a lot of problems because you guys already said like it's probably going to cause some problems you already knew it might. That maybe that would be warranted a separate email to, hey, look out for that. That's just me. I also feel like I don't know what it is about the thigh that is an issue here for everyone to see, but I think also an inseam, in my opinion, is acceptable because I feel like the distance between my genitalia and my kneecap is going to be still the same distance for everyone from their genitalia. So I feel like if that's the issue, that, I don't know, being too showy, it's still the same distance for everybody from there down. So that's just my opinion. I don't really know what a thigh has to do with anything, but thank you.
I'm Caitlin Reynolds, 220 Mill Road. I'm here about the dress code as well. I would like to say that all of your members who have created the policy, I respect all the hard work that you've put into making the policy, and my issue is not the policy. My issue is the way that the policy was enforced. I sent my child to school in perfectly acceptable mid-thigh shorts. She does not wear clothes that's in any way revealing. Now she's petrified to come to school, crying every morning, will not wear shorts, anything outside of pants and a sweatshirt, because she's afraid to be pulled out of her classroom again, to have her hands put to her sides to see how long her shorts are. In her classroom that day, not a single boy was pulled out. So please tell me how this isn't gender. That's all I have to say. Hi, I'm Shannon Taylor. I'm from 23 Barber Farm in Lisbon. I wrote the letter to Mr. Rogers, and I also posted it on change.org. We have over 102 signatures, so I have that for you as well. I sent my child to school in perfectly acceptable shorts, and they were definitely mid-thigh. The reason I said that we need more specificity on it is because who decides what mid-thigh is? She was told to go get checked, and she had to sit in the assistant principal's office. When I was called, I said, they're definitely to her mid-thigh. I checked them myself. And she said, well, when they sit down, they're not. They ride up. So I came. I brought the exact same pair of shorts. Because when you find something that fits your child, you buy two. She put those shorts on, and she wore them the rest of the day. And no one pulled her out of class for those shorts. She got a piece of paper that had a warning on it, and she's scared to wear anything else. There were other girls that were told to go out and get checked. And when you get checked, if you have to get a phone call home, you must sit in a room until your parent comes with clothes. You don't get to go back and participate in your education. You get to sit in a room until your parents get there with your clothes. I don't think that my shorts are very inappropriate. Are these mid-thigh? These are the same shorts she's wearing. Same brand, different size. We sent them home. We called for me to bring more clothes to her. And other parents have pictures of their children as well. And now she has this write-up, which that's what the kids call it, and it's a big piece of paper. When I came, I was told, she just came out and gave me the paper. And I said, is someone going to talk to me? No one came out to talk to me, and I gave her the clothes. When I saw Miss Jenkins, I spoke with her at open house, and she said, oh yeah, well, you got the paper. I said, but she was dressed appropriately. Well, it's mid-thigh. Well, I could go get an x-ray and determine the length of her bone and show you it's not true. So that's why I want more specifics. I understand everybody's arms are different. Well, guess what? Everybody's thighs are different. So if you can't give me a length, then you need to take the write-ups away from our children. And that is also what I'm asking. All those girls should be called in and apologized to, because nobody had their ass hanging out and was going to a music video. They were coming to school. Thank you.
Okay, any more public comment?
I think we have
One more?
Hi, my name is Lindsay Murphy. My address is 166 Westminster Road. My daughter was pulled out of class. Well, so I'll start from the beginning. She went to the nurse's office to help her friend who had a bloody nose. The nurse had informed her that her shorts were probably too short. They were cotton, size appropriate, weather appropriate shorts. When the nurse told her that, she asked her teacher to call her father because she was afraid to get in trouble. And to be honest, so the night before that, after the teachers were, the principal came and talked about the dress code. She cried because she had no shorts that she thought would fit the dress code. So the next morning, the shorts that she had worn and got dress coded on were fingertip length. So I told her, you should be fine. These are perfectly appropriate. They are loose-fitting cotton shorts that are your size. So after she called her father, at some point after that, the assistant principal came into her class and pointed out 5 girls and said, you, and you, by name, come with me to get, I don't know if she said come with me, and that was it. 5 girls got up. 3 of them sat in the assistant principal's office, which I found out last night is the same thing as the ISS office. Is that correct? Like her classroom is ISS?
No, it's not.
No? Okay. So I don't know why she thought that her office or her classroom. So she was pulled in. She was told that her shorts did not meet dress code. 2 of the girls were able to go back. I just received an email that she was given a written warning, but no one ever talked to me. No one ever called my husband. He was called by my daughter prior to getting written up, or the written warning, and came to school. No one talked to him. He dropped off the pants, and then she was able to go back to class after that. But 5 girls were pulled out of one class at the same time. Like, to me, that is not being done discreetly, because obviously everybody knows why they're getting pulled out when they all come back, or 3 of them come back with pants or leggings on. I spoke with another mother who's not here, whose daughter is tall, and she had expressed to me that her daughter is afraid to wear any shorts, and told her mother that she is not wearing any shorts for the rest of the year, no matter how hot it is, because she is so afraid to get dress coded. And it is now a every day this is a struggle for my daughter, because I have already purchased summer clothes. She has 1 pair of biker shorts, which seem to be the only thing that is appropriate with this rule. She does not like wearing jeans. She has a texture issue, so cotton biker shorts is basically what it seems that is deemed appropriate with this rule. So.
All right, thank you. All right, any more public comment? All right, well, I can assure you that we hear you, and we're gonna attack this from a couple different fronts. All right? All right, so we need to go into executive session and invite in all the administration.
Christopher, definitely. Jonathan, not you. Not you.
Brian.
Brian, you can go too. I don't see a reason. Good night. Thank you. See you in the morning, everybody. Kathy, Kathy, do you have this?
Not yet. I had to wait for the public to leave.
She had but.
No, I had to make them.
Do you have the
public
handouts,
out here
Kathy?